Oh, Star Wars The Force Awakens. Oh, 4 years later, it's still a great film. Gotta ask yourself, Disney, what happened? Eh? What happened?
Hi guys, and welcome to my Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker review. So yeah, I didn't think I'd be doing any more videos this year, but I thought I was finished for 2019, but then yesterday I went to go and see Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, and I had to do a video on it. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I did a video on The Last Jedi, and that came out 2 years ago, and yeah, I had a lot to say about that film. It's like a 15-minute rant, that really was. But anyway, yeah, and here we are for episode 9, 2 years later, the conclusion of the Skywalker Saga, the conclusion of all 9 films all together now, heading into this one final finale. And yeah, it's finally come out. The hype was, I think, semi-big, because I think a lot of us were hoping to see what they were going to do after The Last Jedi, of how they were going to correct things, because Last Jedi, I just didn't like so much of that film. There was things I did like, but there was too much I didn't like, just with so many other film critics. And I was wondering, now J.J. Abrams is back after he did Force Awakens, how are we going to conclude this? Because where's he going to take off from where Rian Johnson did with Last Jedi? And yeah, judging by the reviews, the early reactions, it's not great, is it? I mean, I've been to see it now, I've been to see my own mind up, but first off, I just want to say, it's currently at a 57 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's down there with The Phantom Menace. That's just so low. It's got a really low critic score, but it's got quite a high audience score. That might go down as the weeks progress. And yeah, the film's just received so much divide. Like it's completely split the fan base again. It's just like Last Jedi did, except I think this one's probably more negative than Last Jedi. So many film critics don't like it. Jeremy Johns didn't like it. Chris Stuckman didn't like it. Angry Joe's done an angry rant. There's loads of other films like Nerdrotic, Bolus Trek. Not many channels on YouTube will actually like this film. And for me, I'm similar. It's a mixed bag. There's a lot in this film I did like. I think it gets more right than Last Jedi. I probably do like this film more than Last Jedi, but there's a lot it gets wrong in terms of the plot and the direction. So yeah. This is going to be my review. I'm going to talk about things I liked first. I'm going to go into detail on things I liked. And bear in mind, this review will contain spoilers. So if you have not seen The Rise of Skywalker, do not watch this because there's going to be spoilers. Okay? So I'm going to start off with things I liked about this film. Okay? So sit back and enjoy. So the things I liked. The film looks amazing. I mean, you can always say this about a Star Wars film. The graphics, the CGI, the special effects are always top notch. I mean, these films have massive budgets. I mean, I think Last Jedi had 300 million in the budget. This one probably had something similar. I mean, the special effects, the set design, the costumes, everything, that's top notch. Amazing, fantastic. Really, really liked it. Looked, I mean, that's one of the best things I can say about this film. The special effects, lightsabers, everything about that is fantastic. One of the best Star Wars films you get in terms of design. The score from John Williams, yet again, is fantastic. I mean, you can always say John Williams does an amazing score for all 9 films. And I really like this one. He always has to, even with Last Jedi and also Force Awakens, they had good scores. John Williams knows how to do a good Star Wars score. Now onto the characters, I will say. There's a highlights. I think the 2 main characters, of course, who have been the 2 main characters, you would say, for this whole sequel trilogy, Kylo Ren and Rey. They have some great scenes, some great interactions in this film. I mean, the one thing you can say about the sequel trilogy is that even though the stories are so wishy-washy, like what's going on, Kylo Ren and Rey have been the focus point of all 3 films. They had their scenes, of course, in Force Awakens, and they had that fight at the end of the Starkiller base. Of course, then they had their scene, the Force Link scene together in Last Jedi. One of the few good things in Last Jedi, they're having those Force Link scenes, and then they fight at the end in Snoke's throne room. And in this film, they're constantly having the battle of the minds, like they're doing Force vision. They even have a lightsaber fight with a Force link. So even though they're in different locations, they're having a lightsaber fight. That was actually pretty cool. And they're in Kylo Ren's room, and they knock over Darth Vader's mask. It was that was great. And you can just grab stuff that Rey's got, in different Force visions, to find out where they are. That was fantastic. And of course, he's got his mask back. He's got his famous mask back that he had in Force Awakens. I loved Kylo with his mask on, but of course in The Last Jedi, he smashes it early on in the films. Why? But also J.J. Abrams likes that mask, so he reforges it early on in the film. That was great. And I think that was great too. Their interactions. I will get on to more with Kylo and Rey later on in my review. But they were one of the best parts of the film. Finn and Poe, the two side characters, supporting characters who've been in the trilogy. I love them both. John Boyega and Oscar Isaac are great together. They obviously had a bit of a bromance, didn't they, in Force Awakens? They were split off a bit in Last Jedi, weren't they? They won't have to go to do their own thing. Of course, all the gang are together in this one. Rey, Finn and Poe, they're all together, off on their quest, as this film is. But yeah, I think the main cast are good. They're well acted, fun characters, even if they are a bit underwritten and given a bit of a crap script at times. But very talented actors. They did a great job of what they were given. Onto the cameos in this film. Of course, I've got to talk about the cameos. Luke Skywalker, of course, makes a cameo in this film as Force Ghost Luke, and he had to. I said this in my Last Jedi review. He had to come back as a Force Ghost, and he does. He comes back later on in the film when Rey's having like a crisis, and she goes back to the island that he was on in the Last Jedi. And yeah, it's great to see Luke back. Obviously, he's much like nicer now. Now he's Force Ghost Luke, and he catches Rey's lightsaber and goes, A Jedi's weapons should be treated with more respect. And that was a little jab, wasn't it, at Ryan Johnson on Last Jedi. Nice one, JJ. And yeah, this scene was great. How he lifts his X-Wing out of the water for Rey as Force Ghost Luke, and he gives her a good chat, like, confronting fear is the destiny of all Jedi. I was like, go on, Luke. Great, loved that. I loved, speaking, I was still linking to the other cameo, I loved how Kylo, how conflicted he is and how he finally turns to the light side in this film, halfway through. I loved that. Basically, you've been teasing it all film, hadn't he? Obviously in Force Awakens, he's like, I feel it, the pull of the light. And then, obviously, he's more evil than Last Jedi, isn't he? But he's still conflicted. And then, after his big fight with Rey, where he gets distracted and then Rey flies off, he's like, doesn't know what to do. He's like, because Rey saved his life, he's like, he's just conflicted. And then you hear Ben. And it's Han Solo. It's like Harrison Ford came back. That was a great little cameo. Great to see him back, and he just gives him a good pep talk, going, "I'll always be with you, son." And he gives him a big hug, even though it's not a Force ghost. It's just he's hallucinating him. But that was great seeing Harrison Ford back in a quick cameo. I thought he'd be done with Star Wars, but yeah, it was great to see him back. That quick cameo, and Kylo turns to the light side in this film. That's what I really like. Kylo's turn, like his big arc. I think it's probably one of the best things in this film with Kylo Ren. I mean, he was never really a full bad guy, was he? He was like trying to be a bad guy, trying to be in the dark side, but the pull of the light was just too much, and he finally gave it in this film with the help from a hallucinating Han Solo, and of course he throws his lightsaber in the sea. It was great. I loved that. Well, I thought the lightsaber fight in this film was good. I think that's one thing the sequel trilogy lacked, a good, solid lightsaber fight, and we got one in this film, I think. I mean, the Force Awakens lightsaber fight near the end on Starkiller Base, it was fine, but nothing special. The lightsaber fight in Last Jedi, well, it wasn't a lightsaber fight, was it? With the fighting Snoke's guards. That was a fun scene, but when you look at it more closely, it is a bit more flawed, because you can see some of the Snoke's guards going, like, waiting for their spot. It did look a bit too choreographed, but this one, I thought, even though as short as it is, where Kylo and Rey are fighting on like the ruins of the Death Star, and that big ocean planet, all the waves are crashing, and that was a good fight. It went on for about 2-3 minutes, and it was brutal. And there was go back and forth, all the water. That was a really good fight. As short, it was only like that short, and Kylo was literally about to beat Rey too before Leia distracted him, and I thought that was really well done. So finally, Kylo got to semi-beat Rey, because the first two films, Rey beat him, didn't he? So, but yeah, I like that. I really like that. The new characters were good. I like the new characters. There were a bunch of new characters in this film. This little droid with wheels, he was great. This little guy who fixes C-3PO, he was funny. We got two other new characters, two female characters. I've forgotten what they're called, sorry, but they were great. The one with the horses and that one, like that robot one, who had a thing with Poe. That was good. Very well done. C-3PO gets a lot more screen time in this film. He has his own little arc. Obviously, this is when his memory gets rewritten so we can read the inscription on the dagger, so they can find where Palpatine is. That was good. They're taking one last look at my friends. Aww. But he comes back at the end anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But that was nice. C-3PO gets a lot more screen time in this film, because I feel like in Force Awakens and Last Jedi, he was kind of pushed to the back, and he only had a few lines. This film, he gets a lot more screen time. Loved that. Of course, it was great to see Lando back. Lando Calrissian. Of course, it was great to see. And he didn't get killed off, because this one thing the sequel trilogy does is kill off all the old characters. But no, Lando got to be in the film, even though it was only a minor role. He was only in a few scenes. But yeah, it's great to see Lando back. Of course, he helps out in the big fight scene at the end. Leia, that was well done, I think, considering, Carrie Fisher passed away before they could film this. And I was worried, how are they going to do it? And they do it well. Apparently, they just use deleted footage from The Force Awakens, and it fits in well, even though she's only got a few lines, a few scenes here and there, but it does fit in well, even though you can see, like, when she's holding the lightsaber to Rey, you can tell it looks all fuzzy, but I think they did the best job they could have. And the way Leia goes out, it's a bit anticlimactic, but what could they do? Obviously, she passed away before they could film it, so she loses up all her Force energy to reach out to Ben, and that kills her, and you see like she's under a sheet, and the sheet just fades. I thought that was good. So she uses up all her energy to reach out to Ben and turn him back to the light side. I thought that was a good way for Carrie Fisher to go out and live with Leia. So yeah, I like that. Of course, the ending. I thought the bits of the ending with Rey going up against Palpatine, where we find out Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter, which was interesting. Yeah, I thought the confrontation at the end where he's like, "Yes, strike me down, Rey, and I'll become the new Sith Khan." That was good. It was great seeing the actor back who plays Palpatine. I've forgotten his name, but I love Palpatine, obviously from Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. Such a great character. Seeing him back, even though I will go into the negatives about his character too. But the fight at the end, obviously, where he's got the lightning shooting up at the fleet, and he blasts it at Rey. It's like, "I am all of the Sith." And then Rey, with Leia's lightsaber and Luke's, blocks and I thought that when she goes, "I am all of the Jedi," and blocks it back at Palpatine. That was cruel. That was cool, not cruel. That was really good. I liked how they did that. Obviously, with Ben helping out at the end. But that double lightsaber block, and basically how she defeats Palpatine, but it kills her when she gets blasted away. But I'll get more into that in the negatives, because there was some negatives there, definitely. And seeing Palpatine back was cool. I loved seeing Palpatine back, even though you can tell he was so shoehorned in. He wasn't the plan, because what happened in Last Jedi, they were like, "Palpatine, come back!" So yeah, they brought him back into this film. And the way they explain how he came back, a bit weak, but I will get onto that into the negatives. But seeing him back just anyway was cool, because I love such a great character. And the action scenes, all the action scenes in this film are great. Like the chaser scene on that desert planet, the big fight at the end, all the Star Destroyers and the entire galaxy's fleet coming to help out. That was great. I thought that the fights were good. And I'm going to briefly touch on the ending, but I'll get into that more. Obviously, where Rey goes to Tatooine, she goes to Luke's old home where he grew up. That was great. On Tatooine's it's like all been abandoned now, but she goes back and she just looks to the she goes, "Who are you?" And she looks at the sky with the sun and the two suns, the do like how Luke did. And she goes, "I'm Rey Skywalker," with her yellow lightsaber. "I'm Rey Skywalker." That's how it ends. I was like, Rey Skywalker? You're not a Skywalker though, Rey. You're a Palpatine. But I get what you mean. She's got all the Jedi in here now, so she is now Skywalker, I guess. But yeah, but those are my positives for the rise of I forgot the name. The Rise of Skywalker. Those are my positives, and there are quite a few. I don't think it's as bad as Last Jedi, but there are quite a lot of negatives here too. So I'm gonna get onto the negatives now. Starting with the plot. The plot, you can just tell it's rushed, and that's not J.J. Abrams' fault. You could tell he had a plan for episode 8, obviously, which he left to Rian Johnson, and Rian Johnson was like, "Nope, I'm doing my own thing, sorry dude." And now J.J. Abrams was put in such a difficult position for this film, and you could just tell he was trying to cram so much in, so he was trying to rewrite bits what happened in Last Jedi, because half of this film is just like an FU to The Last Jedi. It's like some of the different things, like, that never happened, and this film acts like Last Jedi never happened, which I kind of like, but you got to acknowledge it exists too, because it's one of the excited episodes. It just feels rushed, even though it's a 2.5-hour film. There's so much crammed into this film. Like, they've got to end the saga. They've got to talk about what happened with Last Jedi. And they've got to do too many different things. They have Palpatine, Rey, the resolution to all these characters, this massive saga, and you can just tell it's so crammed in. It's rushed, and you could tell there's 2 films in here. They probably had to cram it down. This easily could have been a 3.5-hour film. I bet there's going to be an extended cut, and if there is, I would buy it, because I think if there's an extended cut, it would make the film a lot better. But it's such a rushed plot, and that's not J.J. Abrams' fault. It's Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson with Last Jedi. They was put in such a hard position here. And that's another problem with this sequel trilogy. The different directors with the different visions. You could tell this trilogy feels like a mess. Because we got Force Awakens, which I really liked. And the great start. Then obviously heading into Last Jedi with Rian Johnson. He just scripts everything Force Awakens set up and does his own thing. And it divided the fan base. I did not like a lot of that film. And now we got this film, which tries its best. J.J. Abrams did the best of what he was given. It was a mess. So the narrative throughout all three films just is so messy. Like, The Last Jedi just feels like a completely random film now, because this film just acts like Last Jedi never happened. This film feels more like a sequel to Force Awakens than it does The Last Jedi. That's a big problem. But yeah, the two different divisions, Rian Johnson like J.J. Abrams butting heads, it just ugh. And The Last Jedi and The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, you can tell they're butting heads, both of these films. It doesn't. You shouldn't be having this in a trilogy. It doesn't work. Say what you will about the prequels. At least the prequels had a cohesive story from episodes 1, 2, and 3. The story of Anakin joining as a Jedi, rising up, and then becoming Darth Vader at the very end of episode 3. That was great. And of course, the original trilogy. We all know how legendary the original trilogy is. So yeah, that was just, I didn't like that at all. Rey, as much as I love Daisy Ridley, she's done a great job in all three of these films. I love Daisy Ridley, great actress, but Rey, it's just the ultimate Mary Sue. We saw we saw signs of it in The Force Awakens, then she became a big Mary Sue in The Last Jedi, and in this one, she's a god. She can do anything. I get, she's had a year, it's been a year since The Last Jedi, so she's had a year to train, do other stuff, but she's a god in this film. She just, force lightning, blocking lightsaber, blocking the Emperor's light battle. I guess she's got all the Jedi in here and all that, but still, she's so overpowered. It's ridiculous the stuff she can do in this film. We've seen Rey do, she's like, she's just so OP. And I like her character, I like Rey, but my god, good lord. I mean, I'm just never worried for her, because she's just so good at everything, and she's like the ultimate powerful Jedi, even though she still had hardly any training. I guess Rey's training was in between The Last Jedi and this film. So with Leia, so yeah, on that planet. But okay. I'll get on to that. Palpatine. As great as it was to see him back, the Emperor Palpatine, it was so obvious he was shoehorned in because they killed off Snoke in Episode 8. Thanks, Rian Johnson. And they were like, okay, Palpatine, you're back. Come on, dude, you're back. And you could tell he was so shoehorned in. It was a last-minute decision to bring him back. Even in the opening crawl, it goes, "The dead speak. Emperor Palpatine has broadcasted his return." I was like, Like, you could tell this wasn't the plan. But if Emperor Palpatine was meant to be the main big bad guy of this sequel trilogy too, he was pulling all the strings, like, then he would have been mentioned earlier on. He would have been mentioned or hinted at in Force Awakens or Last Jedi, but he wasn't, because he wasn't the plan. Snoke was meant to be the big bad guy, but they ruined that, didn't they? And then they're trying to tie in Snoke too. They go, at the beginning of the film, where Rey, what's his name, tracks down the Emperor, he goes, "I killed Snoke." He goes, "My boy, I created Snoke." And you see Snoke in like a vat. So Snoke was just like this Force clone, which the Emperor was controlling in Last Jedi and Force Awakens. Which I think is a cool thing, but why are we getting told this now in the final film? It's like, they're trying to just write it in, aren't they? Fill in the plot holes. So the Emperor was been behind us the whole time, controlling Snoke. Even though we don't fully explain how he survived, and it kind of just also ruins Darth Vader's sacrifice at the end of Return of the Jedi when he throws the Emperor into the Death Star reactor. Like, it just ruins that sacrifice, because then the Emperor, obviously he had that clone facility set up, didn't he, on this planet. And he transferred his consciousness into those clones, and then for 30 years he planned his revenge with creating the First Order and Starkiller Base and all that. It's just a mess. It's a mess. I'm sorry, it is. As much as I like Palpatine and his plan, his plan made no sense. So you're telling me he created like this massive fleet of Star Destroyers, like hundreds of Star Destroyers, just waiting for Kylo to take control and rule the galaxy. Where the hell did Palpatine get time to build all them? I know you're telling me it would have taken a workforce of thousands, tens of thousands to build all those Star Destroyers. There were hundreds of them. Where did they come from? They've been hiding there all that time. It's like, what? And each one of those Star Destroyers has a gun which can destroy a planet. So it just makes the Death Star and Starkiller Base look pointless. It's like, what? It's like, okay. Yeah. That just didn't make sense. The plot. I wasn't a fan of the plot either. This fetch quest plot where they've got to go and find this dagger. They've got to go and find these little triangle things which can point the way to how you get to where the Emperor's hiding through this little vortex thing. I was like, not a good plot for a Star Wars film. Of course, this introduced with this new Force heal power where you can heal wounds with Force heal. That's used a lot in this film. Like, my god, like Rey uses it on this like snake, in this big tunnel thing, which is a bit weird. Like she can heal people with the Force. It has been introduced, I think, in extended lore, but it's so overused in this film. Like she uses it when she stabs Kylo. I thought Kylo was gonna die, but no, she brings him back with the Force heal. And then near the end of the film, they use it. Well, obviously, when Rey dies, because the blast from killing the Emperor just kills her. Rey's dead. I thought, oh my god, have they killed off Rey? So Rey's lying there dead. But no, Kylo brings her back with the Force heal. I'm like, what? This would have come in very handy in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy too. I'm just saying, they could. Why didn't Obi-Wan do this on Padme? Why didn't Obi-Wan do it on Qui-Gon Jinn? It's like, what? Oh, whatever, man. But yeah, that was just a little MacGuffin put in there, wasn't it? So like I said, a lot of this film feels like course corrections from The Last Jedi, trying to make up for the mess. It's just a messy trilogy. I really didn't like how the ending happened. So with Ben Solo, that's what I'm talking about, Ben Solo, where he sacrifices himself at the end. This is probably one of my biggest issues with the film. How Ben dies at the end, like he has this big redemption arc. Obviously, when he finally goes back, he's back being Ben Solo. Not Kylo Ren is dead. He's Ben Solo again now. Yeah. And then he comes back at the end to help out Rey. But he fights the Knights of Ren with Rey's lightsaber from the Force link. Yeah, the Knights of Ren are in this film. Yeah, they were, of course, we saw them in Force Awakens, like that flashback. But they weren't in Last Jedi. And the Knights of Ren are in this film, and they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing. And then Kylo just beats them all single-handedly with a lightsaber. And there. Knights of Ren, nice one. Nice to know they were used well. Masters of the Knights of Ren. So yeah, where was I? Of course, that's at the end. He brings Rey back. He heals Rey. He brings Rey back from the dead, and so then Rey and Kylo are like that, and then they kiss. And oh, it was cringe. It was so awkward. Like they kiss the whole cinema. I was in the cinema. Half the people in the cinema went, I can hear them going, oh god. I was in the cinema and it just felt so awkward. It was so weird. And then Ben just dies. He goes, ugh. Ben's dead because I guess transferring all his energy to save Rey killed him. So then Ben dies. And I'm like, you're going to kill off Ben or Kylo Ren. You go, oh no. So why would you have them kiss? Why would you have them go on this big redemption arc if he's just going to die at the end? That would preferred is if Rey had actually stayed dead. Like she has her big ultimate sacrifice, defeating the Emperor, but it kills her. She's finally saved the galaxy once and for all. The Emperor's never going to come back. She's dead. It's a big sacrifice for Rey. And then Kylo, now he's good. Now he's Ben Solo, continues the Jedi or something like that. He's the Last Jedi now. Kylo Ren, that Ben Solo. That would have been great. I would have preferred that. But no, we had to keep Rey alive, didn't she? Because she's the ultimate Mary Sue. But no, I like Rey. So yeah, but I didn't like Ben dying at the end and that awkward kiss. It just, he didn't need to die. He did not need to die. I'm just saying that right now. It wasted his. Ugh. Also, this is more of a nitpick than a criticism, but we didn't get a cameo from two certain characters. But like no Anakin cameo. Even though the film's called The Rise of Skywalker, it's meant to conclude the Skywalker Saga, we got no Anakin cameo. I would have loved that. Just a quick cameo scene. We could have got Hayden Christensen from the prequel trilogy. Obviously a bit dulled up, obviously looks a bit older, but that would have been great. Like just seeing him offer some advice to Rey or something like that. Oh no Anakin cameo. That was disappointing. And no Anakin Skywalker whatever. And no Obi-Wan cameo either. I would have loved a cameo from Ewan McGregor, just with him and Hayden Christensen giving some advice to Rey. Oh, you know what would have been great? At the end, where Rey's facing over Palpatine, so she can't beat him on her own, so then all the Force ghosts from all the other Jedi come and help. That would have been amazing. Like we have Anakin, we have Luke, Anakin and Luke, the two Skywalkers. We've got Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, Yoda, all the Jedi, all the Force ghosts, and then maybe they all help Rey. Blast back the Emperor, and then I know they do when they go in ahead, like, we're with you, Rey, but like actual there as Force ghosts, that would have been amazing, but we never got that. No. Yeah, that was a waste. So those are my main criticisms with the film. Rey was overpowered, the rush plot, the different directors with the different visions ruined this trilogy. Ben Solo dying at the end didn't like. The Force heal overuse didn't. Palpatine just shoehorned in and wasted with this really crazy, wacky plot out of nowhere. Loads of course corrections from The Last Jedi, which didn't work. It's just such a messy trilogy. The no Anakin or Obi-Wan cameos disappointed me. The Fetch Quest plot I thought was just, didn't like that for the first half. Palpatine's big, huge fleet of Star Destroyers, which make no sense, but Snoke just being Palpatine's puppet, which I didn't like. So yeah, and now that's why we know this film has gotten such mixed reviews. Of course, 57% Rotten Tomatoes is disappointing, even though it's doing better with fan scores. And according to the box office, it's not doing very well. The box office, it's underperforming in the box office. It's obviously still going to do well because it's just a Star Wars film, but it's not making as much money as Force Awakens or Last Jedi did. So and Disney will not be happy with that because that's the only thing they understand: money, money, money. But yeah, when I look back on this sequel trilogy, I'm disappointed because it could have been something amazing. We had Force Awakens, which I loved. Still love Force Awakens. People will say it's just a lazy retread of A New Hope, played it too safe, but I still love Force Awakens. It's easily the best film of this whole trilogy. Then we got Last Jedi, which just did so many different things. Some of them worked, and a lot of it didn't. And then, obviously, with Rise of Skywalker, which I still like a lot of this film. Like I said, lots of positives, but there's also lots of negatives too. This is much more mixed. So if I had to grade, I'm going to do this now. To finish off, I'm going to grade all 9 films. So this is my grade. I'm going to go from top to bottom. So I'm going to start off. My favourite film is Empire Strikes Back. Loved Empire Strikes Back. Fantastic. And number 2 we have is Revenge of the Sith. I love that film. My guilty pleasure. People go, oh, a prequel film, no number 2. But I love Revenge of the Sith. It's fucking great, fucking great. Then number 4, we have A New Hope. Really loved A New Hope, the very first Star Wars film all the way back, and it was great. Then number 4, we have Return of the Jedi. Really like that film. Great. Then halfway through, we have Force Awakens. Probably was going to be a little bit higher, but I thought just because I think the original trilogy is unmatched, I'm going to put Force Awakens is my number. Is number 5. Number 6 we have is Rise of the Skywalker. Like I said, it's not the worst Star Wars film, but it's nowhere near up there with one of the best. It's just right in the lower bits. So yeah. Then number 7 we have Phantom Menace. Yep, the very first prequel film. It has its good parts. Obviously, Duel of the Fates, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul. That was the best part of the film easily. Then on to my last 2. Second to last is Last Jedi. I've said all I had to do in that film on my other review I did 2 years ago. Yeah. And then obviously, it's not the worst though. The worst easily is Attack of the Clones, which Attack of the Clones. That was just... So yeah guys, thank you for watching. This has been my review for The Rise of Skywalker. I hope you enjoyed, but like I said, lots of positives. I don't think this film is terrible, like it's awful. No, I think this film's got a lot of positives still. It still does a lot of things right, but it also does a lot of things wrong. But I've said what I have to say. Yeah, so my final score probably for The Rise of Skywalker, I'm going to say is I'm going to give it a B. A B, maybe B minus, because I still think it gets a lot right, and the highs are quite good, but then obviously it gets quite a lot wrong, low. But if I had to grade the sequel trilogy, I'd probably give Force Awakens B plus, A minus, yeah. I had to, Last Jedi probably is a C plus, and yeah, Rise of Skywalker B minus. So yeah, thank you all for watching, guys. What did you think of the Rise of Skywalker? Comment below, let me know. Where do you think it's going to go next? Because we all know there's going to be episode 10 in a couple of years' time. We all know it's going to happen because Disney it's a lot of money. But where do you think it's going to go now, guys? Comment below, let me know. So thank you all for watching, guys. Have a lovely Christmas. Have a happy New Year, and I'll see you all in January. May the Force be with all of you.